got this working here, so we'll see. All right, I've got microphones up and running. I've got all the buttons pressed. I think I need to press to do this little Explain Everything project. Well, this last weekend I sent out an announcement and gave you some feedback on the discussion, the first discussion on the preface by Edward Taylor, and I remember praising some of you guys, and I think I even talked about some of your writing, as a matter of fact, in my face-to-face class. But today what I wanted to do was talk to you about the, there's three parts really in this course. You've got your discussion questions, and those are pretty straightforward, I think, and those are simple to do. And then there's the research questions, which I think I talked to you about the changes that I made in those, so that your first paper is beginning the project. I think it's your third discussion which asks you to start to formulate your research topic. And so I'd like to go ahead and talk about the next section of the course, which needs to be kind of ongoing, which is the heart of the course in terms of it is all about the iBook. And so what I did was I created this assignment, these thematic content pages. And I'm asking you to create a page, and I might have made things a little more difficult by trying to help you by giving you this template that you could copy and paste into your pages. Because basically there's three assignments. The first assignment is for you to look at the first section of the iBook, which is on ethics. So these are the 4 chapters, beginning with chapter 2, which is the Vishnu Purana, the creation myth from the Hindu religion. And then there is the Kojiki of Japan, or the Egyptian cosmogony of Egypt, and the Kojiki of Japan, and the Popol Vuh of the Mesoamericas, the Mayan culture and civilization. So those are 3 axial civilizations, the Hindus, the Mayans, and the Egyptians. So most of the world's population, and or much of it, the largest percentage of it, has been based on those cultural contributions. So those are origin tales that we should have some understanding of. And so what I'm going to show you now, I think, is, so these are the assignments then. When we look at assignments, we've got the iBook Content Readings Origins. Now in this particular assignment, I don't think there's really anything for you to upload. All you have to do is fill out your thematic page, your content page, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I've noticed that half of you have already gotten your pages up. But the rubric that I'm going to use is on the assignment here, and I'm going to grade these just like I would a discussion. So in other words, I'd like for you to completely address the 2 main points. The first point of just about every reading is some kind of a historical context. So I think it's important to, note perhaps, that Egyptian cosmogony dates back, 3,000 years before the birth of Christ, for example. I think it's important to know, that the Mayan civilization dates back, into the 300 and 400 AD, perhaps even before that, and extends, up into the time of the conquests in the early 15th century. The Hindu civilization dates back 2,500 years before the birth of Christ. And some of these dates are, controversial among scholars and so forth, but it's just in the ballpark, so that that nobody gets away with saying back in the day as being an adequate description of the historical period in which one of these seminal cultures and some of their texts and original documents came from, all right? So I just, I want you guys to be smart about this stuff. And then usually the second point has some key theme or element of the reading that I'd like for you to sort of identify and find some text within the reading that explains or gives an example of or acts to help you understand what these concepts mean. For example, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth in the Hindu cycles. Where in the reading do you find sort of reference to this kind of aspect or to the nature of ultimate reality? And so give me some examples from the text that documents that you actually looked at the book. The third the second step is this research of additional sources. Now I've given you the link for the library resource guide. So DBR 200 as a library research guide, and it gives you lots of great links and some readings and understandings about these very chapters. And so I would really make use of these to sort of understand, what the main point of these readings are about. And so this is also a point too at which you might begin with this and the next, the personal connection. You might bear in mind that you're writing this research about artificial intelligence or genetic engineering. You might even be interested in the nature of consciousness itself. These chapters in origins and in ethics and in theories of knowledge quite often will sort of tie in to some basic concepts that you'll be dealing with in your research project. So now might be a great time, to look up, the Vishnu Purana and consciousness, or I looked up the Descartes and artificial intelligence, and you're going to find connections to your topics, I think, by just typing in sort of the chapter titles or the authors of the titles, and do a little searching in this area, and you'll find connections and possibly some really cool sources to make connections with. And so those are the research, the personal connection, and the grammar and mechanics are the final pieces of that. All right, so how do we get there then? All right, we click on people, all right? And I went through this with one of my announcement videos, and so here's all the people. That's us, all of us peoples. And then when you click on the highlighted Thematic Readings content page, you come up with a page that looks like this. And off to the side are these three little dots, which give us more. And when we click and visit the group home page, we get here. Now I'm using the browser version. Now you can get to this page also when you open up your dashboard in the app. It will take you automatically because you'll have courses and then you'll have groups that you're enrolled in. And one of your groups will be the Thematic Reading Contents pages, so you can get to it that way as well. And so here we are in the Thematic Reading Content pages, all right? And so I posted up this welcome to the home page, which is a little dated now. I posted up pages, and so this was the front page for, and I gave you this content template page, right? And all I was trying to do here was, there's a little browser that's hanging around there. I was going to show you that. Separating these into chapters. So I could have just as easily just gone, asked you to put, when you're responding to chapter 2, just put chapter 2 down, all right? And then include these main points. It is creation myth from India, depicting existence as a cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Give me some examples from the text that depict this kind of cycle and explain that. The idea that there's an ultimate reality. Find that kind of information in the text, and what does that sort of mean to you? And you could bring some images into that, about ultimate. The idea of reality itself is such an interesting and contested notion, right? This sort of myth of objective reality, which has sort of been shattered in the modern world by our notion that, well, there may be one sort of reality going on, but it, depending on your perspective, will determine on how you understand that or see it or interpret that reality. And so I had given you the criteria, and then this is the right out of the rubric and so forth. And then I had given this sort of example, and I said, you can cut and paste this onto your page, but I don't care whether you cut and paste that onto the page or not, all right? So some of you have done that, and some of you got a blank page. That's fine. Just put down chapter 2 and then cover the main points that are listed here, these points right here, right? And I've done that on each one of the chapters in this template are included. So there's the main points for the Egyptian cosmogony. Make sure that you cover those in your writing and your discussion. All right, and so you can see the line where I said, here's where you put your own response. Now you can put some horizontal lines, however, to organize your page a little bit better, to make it easier for you to find where you need to write and edit. Remember, when you edit your own page, make sure you save. All right, and so the way you create your own page is by clicking on View All Pages, right? And now you can see all the pages that have been created so far. All right. And so it looks like Andres created a page and he's copied, the template into it. So nice work there, Andres. Go back to pages and go and check out Caleb's page. And Caleb, you may notice that this is in here, and this, maybe Caleb did this one too. While I was messing around earlier, I put a simple template on Chase's. Okay, so Chase had typed in hello and saved his page, so good job there, Chase. And then I added for you, Chase, this like chapter or thematic section called Origins, and then I copied in the main points in the chapter headings. And so you can just go in and edit that and make it your own, right? And so if any of you want to do that rather than copy the template page, I'll show you under Files, I added this simple thematic template, all right? And so this has that same, just simple Microsoft Word template. I put in some horizontal lines to break up the sections from ethics to theories of knowledge. But that's another way too. So you could use that as a template if you want to as well, all right? Let's see if I can get that to close. All right. And so let's go back to pages. And so when I go to view all pages, if you haven't made your page yet, you just simply click on the blue button that says add page, and then I'll say the wonderful wizard. All right, now you should use your own name. All right, only I get to be the wonderful wizard. All right, and so now I can add some comments in here. I'm going to say hello to, all right? Or I could have cut and copied the template in there. But remember, I've got to come down there and put save, all right? And so I'm looking at this now and I'm saying, all right, let me go back and edit something here. And because I noticed down at the bottom there, it gives me, I can go ahead and add files by uploading a new file. Or if I have an image, I can go in and upload an image there. There's a cool image, right? And so now I've uploaded this image into the file. And so I'm going to save that. So that's kind of nice. All that's available. So there I am, the wonderful, ambiguously sexual data graphic here, all right? There, does that help? So you understand? Now the assignments tell you that we have until, let's go back, if we want to find out, when is that first assignment due? Those first 4 readings due. I click back to DBR 200, all right? And under assignments, I'm asking you to read those first 4 chapters, all right? And to try to comment on them by September 24th. And since we need more time, I'm going to go ahead and edit this assignment right now and say, let's try to get these first 4 chapters done, all right, by October 8th, all right? So that should give us plenty of time. Oh, I've got to change that date. So if we're doing that by the date, then I'll make it the 15th. Done, save. All right, So now this assignment is due by October 8th. So get involved in reading this book, and you don't have to read it in the order, right? Remember what I said, your research topic is sort of this guiding principle in the course, right? About your interests, about artificial intelligence, about genetic, molecular engineering, and so forth. What is your interest there? And I know some of you are like, gosh, I don't even have an interest there. Wait a minute. What about the natures of consciousness? Should we care about the machines that are going to be living in our lives? What about our emotional state? What kind of emotional relationships are we going to have to these devices, to Siri, to Alexa? These are the kinds of topics that are being discussed now. Should we care? What if somebody violates your Alexa, just smashes your Alexa? Are you personally offended when this machine is, damaged, right? Is that an appropriate response that we should have to these kinds of rudimentary intelligences that are coming on the scene? What about when these intelligences are much more proactive and anticipate, sort of our needs and sort of our feelings, and begin to view us, right, and interpret our responses by looking and reading our facial expressions and saying, wow, when you walk into the room, Magna, and Alexa says, Magda, you don't look like you're happy today. Would you like for me to play you some music or something? Or Max, you look sad. Do you want me to make a phone call for you or something? Whatever the case is, how are we supposed to feel about our interactions with these devices and these systems that are coming into our lives? And so that, I think, is probably the most fruitful grounds for research, to think about yourself and your life, your careers, and how you might anticipate interacting with machines, and who gets to decide on those interactions, what those are supposed to be like. And so let these readings in the book about the origins, about the nature of the sacredness or the secular nature of life, depending on how you sort of place yourself in orientation to these sacred origin stories. The ethical stories are different cultures, more inclined, to have a different set of ethics in terms of artificial intelligence than the Western. Is the Eastern culture going to be different in its orientation to these machines and these systems? Theories of knowledge, who gets to decide, what these machines know? What should they know about us? And how, what do we want to know about how they know or what they know, right? How do they get to read our description of sadness, right? Maybe we should be able to, should we be able to change their algorithms so that, maybe we want to be able to lie to them, right? Maybe we don't want them uncovering truths about us. Who gets to decide on how these kinds of things respond to us? So this project's getting really long. I'm going to click the go button here. Probably should have made 2 videos, but I want to do this one and hope this is helpful. And I will be in touch later this week, okay? Bye.